Hello crafty friends, I'm Lean from Studio Kato and I'm so happy to be back on the Syberia Designs YouTube channel today with not one but two cards using this gorgeous layered chrysanthemum stamp. I absolutely adore this stamp set. I know layering stamps can be a little bit intimidating to some folk, but I swear they're very easy to use. Now this is the set. You get one giant chrysanthemum flower and one leaf. And on the back you can see how these layers fit together. There is a little blue line indicating where the second layer lines up with the first layer and so forth. It's really easy to use once you are just crafting, and I do have a little hack. I think I learned this from Jennifer McGuire. If you want to make multiples of these, which I always recommend when working with layering stamp sets, I recommend die cutting a bunch of blank pieces of white cardstock first with the coordinating die. I then also save one of the negative spaces and put painter's tape on the back so it shows through the opening. That is where you can put your blank chrysanthemum flower shapes. And if you line up your stamps in this, you can just switch out one die cut for the next and stamp each layer in a bunch of different colors for a bunch of different flowers. And then you line up the second layer after that and stamp over the first layer again, switching out the die cuts each time. It's very easy to do and it's a great hack. So you only have to line up you never have to line up the die around the stamped image, the finished stamped image. I think it's brilliant. I use this all the time with layering stamps. So you can see I first stamped an orange flower. I always start with the lightest color I can possibly find for my first layer. And this is a very large solid stamp, so the first impression might not look great. Mine looks a little patchy. The ink will even out over time, so it won't look as bad when I'm stamping the second layer. But also, each layer you stamp after this one is just going to cover up any stamping mistakes you had previously. Very little of the first layer is going to be showing, so it doesn't matter if it's not stamped perfectly. Now here, I have switched it back to that first orange flower and I've lined up the second layer stamp. I can then stamp it again in that orange, and once I've done that I can switch it out and stamp another flower. I'm skipping that and I'm jumping straight through the third layer, and you can really see this image coming together. This is the fourth. I'm really skipping through it, but I'm going to show you the finished flower of each of the colors I stamped. So this is the pink one for the final layer, and that's just, God, it really packs a punch when these layers come together. I love that. It's so easy to do. You don't have any coloring hassle, and with this little hack you can easily make so many colors of these flowers. For my first card, I'm going to use the Tiny Dots hot foil plate from the latest Syberia Designs release, and I'm going to hot foil that in gold over some navy blue cardstock. This is the polished brass foil. It's my favorite gold foil from Spellbinders. It's a little bit warmer. It's not as yellow as their straight up gold foil. I did get a little bit of overfoiling and I just erased that with a sand eraser, and then I am going to use the largest rectangle die in the Syberia Designs Nested Scalloped Frames die set, and I'm going to cut this out, just trim this down to an A2 size panel. I love this Nested Scalloped Frames die set from Syberia Designs. The rectangles in the set, they leave a little dotted line all the way around the rectangle, so it's a really fun detail around your just your rectangular panels, and they come in various sizes. And you also get scalloped panels, and if you combine the scalloped panels with the rectangle die cuts, you can create nested scalloped frames like the die set name suggests. So this frame was also cut using the dies in that set. I cut 2 layers of white cardstock with it and 1 layer of gold glitter cardstock. Now, I have also stamped some of those leaves off camera, and I'm just going to go with a really simple card for this one. I want to show some of those tiny dots off. I really love that tiny dot detail, so I am definitely leaving enough open space so you can see it on my final card project. I have adhered the leaf so far with just some liquid glue, and I'm going to prop up the chrysanthemum flower with some foam tape. And then I have this fun sentiment. This is from the Love Hugs die set. There is a shadow layer available. I chose not to use it on this card, but you absolutely could. You get the word love and the word hugs in that die set, and there is also a coordinating hot foil plate set as well. I adhered that second leaf with some liquid glue as well, and I'm calling this card done. It's a very simple card, but again, with a dark background and the gold tiny dots, I think it's a really fun card. My second card has a little bit more to it, but I still think it's pretty simple. I'm using the Signature Tags die set, which is so fun. You get 2 different tag shapes, each in 2 different sizes, and then you get some fun details to cut out of the tags. There is also a sentiment for you that you can cut out of the tags as well. So I cut one of the largest tags and one of those fun leaf details at the bottom. And I'm going to do some ink blending on this tag so it's not completely white. I am going to have a colored background, and I thought the white was a little bit too stark against that colored background. So for this tag, I'm just doing some quick ink blending with Concord 9th inks. I think this is nectar and grapefruit. It might be sorbet, it might be grapefruit, I don't know. But just some soft pink inks. And once that's done, I am going to cut the Meadow Magic cover plate die, which is such a fun one. In the latest Syberia Designs release, there were a couple of cover plates that just left a dotted detail design. And I love cover dies like this. They are my most used cover dies in my stash. Every time a company comes out with one, I'm very tempted to buy it. So I really love this one. It just has some flowers and leaves on that background. I cut it out of some warm pink cardstock. And I'm propping my tag up on some foam tape. Once that's in place, I can arrange my chrysanthemum, my leaves, and my sentiment as well. So I chose to go with the teal chrysanthemum here. I think it goes really well with the pink. It's a nice contrast. And then I have a couple sentiments cut as well. I removed that. I removed the sentiments and the chrysanthemum so I could glue my leaves in place. These pieces are large enough that it's not too fiddly to just glue them straight down. But you could, if you're happy with your arrangement, you could use a piece of press and seal. Cover your arrangement with that, pick all of the pieces up at once, and that's a great easy way to preserve your arrangement once you're happy with it and adhere everything at once. Once again, I chose to glue the leaves straight down onto that tag, and I'm adding some dimension just behind the flower. I often do this, so there's a fun little difference in dimension in my floral arrangement. I think it adds a little bit to it. This U die cut is from the For You die set. It has one large shadow die, so for the entire sentiment, but the scripted layer comes separately. So you have, it comes in the same die set, but it cuts out the words separately. So you have the For and the U separately, and I just used the U and I added a sentiment strip as well. You Make My Heart Happy. I think that's such a fun one. And I think that sentiment set is from the previous release, but I could be wrong. I make a bunch of sentiment strips usually at once, and then I just use them whenever I can. So I think this is a really fun one for this card. Again, a pretty simple card to make, but you can do so much with this large chrysanthemum flower. You can fill a whole card front just with chrysanthemums, and with that layering stamping hack, you can be done with that pretty quickly too. I hope you liked the card. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to this channel and my channel if you enjoyed it so you can see more of my videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.